Too a little short for a stormtrooper.
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping episode 4 of the Disney Plus series Star Wars Ahsoka Fallen Jedi. From Cetos to the world between worlds and everywhere in between. My God, my name is Mike Gibson. With me as always is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
If you're not watching, I'm just grinning.
He's just happy. He's just happy.
That was an episode of television, folks. That was.
Did you watch it tonight or did you watch it
I watched it
yesterday?
last night.
Okay.
So I watched it last night, and this is the first time I've ever watched something with my like good headphones.
Oh, with headphones on. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like in it, and I was like, holy shit. I was traveling for work. So I wasn't watching it on my big TV with, you know, large speakers, etc.
Your normal setup, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it was like me and the computer screen and my headphones.
Yeah.
And it was just a very intimate relationship for a extremely awesome episode of television.
Extremely good. Yeah, I watched it tonight. I'm hot
you're fresh
here. Oh yeah. Yeah. And man, what a thing. What a thing. This show is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you had when I read that the director of this episode is one Peter Ramsey, guy whose name may not be a household name, but he directed Into the Spider-Verse.
I was going to say a small movie known as.
So I knew, I was like, oh, we're in good hands for episode 4. I think he's got another one. I think he's doing one other one too. One of the later ones in the season, I think I saw.
Oh, shucks.
I don't have it in front of me. Oh yeah, darn.
Because if he can bring it like he did for this episode, then we're doing good.
Not to compare, you know, everyone that's a Star Wars fan knows that Star Wars is full of ups and downs. Not everybody agrees on what's up and what's down, but everyone agrees there
are peaks and valleys.
There are peaks and valleys, exactly. So I hate being someone that compares, but in watching these lightsaber fights, specifically, I'm jumping right in the middle of the episode.
Spoiler alert for anyone who, for some reason, is listening to an instant reactions video and is
for the 4th episode of the series that you haven't watched. Yeah.
Either way, we're going to talk about literally everything Star Wars, so it's all on the table. Good luck.
Yeah, you're right. Who knows what we will reference? But that scene in the forest when Ahsoka is fighting Marek and Shin is fighting Sabine.
Yeah.
The way that those those fights, not even before Sabine pulls out her lightsaber, I realized this was just like, these fights are so much better choreographed and shot than the ones in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I felt like they were just up close and visceral and dangerous and fast paced, but like you never lost track of where somebody was, or it just felt like intense and visceral, and it was great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I felt this excited. Well, I was excited for different reasons when I was watching Darth Vader fight Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I was like, this isn't like, this is cool because these are these two characters fighting, but this is not put together quite as well as I would have wanted it to be, and definitely not as well put together as the fight scenes in this show, Ahsoka.
Yeah, and cinematography, right off the bat, the way this episode was shot, between both directing and cinematography was just absolutely impeccable.
Yeah, I agree.
The attention in the lightsaber battles, to there being a contrast between how Shin and Sabine went at things versus the Baylan and Ahsoka fight.
Yeah.
Like two people playing around versus two masters at their craft.
Yeah, the man, that last one was excellent.
Oh, and when they kept going between lightsaber forms to test each other out.
Yes, my God. So good.
It was so, and then Ahsoka settles on Form 5, which it was perfect. Like,
I love that I love that you can identify the forms by
Well, it's weird because Ahsoka, so she and Anakin both use Form 5, but two different variants of it.
Okay.
So there's
That's holding it out in front of you like this.
Yeah, so Shen and
Yeah.
Gemso. Shen is like the backhanded, how she usually holds
Yeah,
her
she used
lightsaber kind of
her
back.
short blade. Yeah.
Yep. And then the other is like a forceful, like straightforward, and it's like
Sure.
she kind of she's like, all right, this isn't working. Let's switch it over and use, what the guy who taught me everything did. It's like, okay, cool. Let's go.
Why do you think she didn't use both of her lightsabers?
I don't know.
She only used one. In both fights, she only used one.
I mean, I am in no way a swordsman, but I'd assume there's like, from her testing him out was like, okay, this is going to be better with one blade type thing.
The one. Yeah.
It seemed like it was a conscious, not just a conscious thought from, okay, Rosario Dawson may not be able to, make two blades look good. And even if it's a physical limitations of them filming things, that they made it look like, okay, she's probing and trying different things and settling on this.
Right.
So even if it was something that they did for reasons outside of the story, they made it work in the story, which was awesome.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was great. Okay, so it starts off, they're still trying to fix the ship. Hu Yang is on his back. They're trying to contact Home 1. They can't. Hu Yang goes outside, gets attacked. There's like a little interaction between Sabine and Ahsoka outside.
So that little interaction and the interaction between them and then the follow-up with Hu Yang was perfect exposition.
Yeah.
So anyone who watched it last night as well, they get assaulted. Hu Yang, we find out, has two more arms that just beat the shit out of another droid.
Yeah, that was cool.
Was great. Also, Hu Yang is maybe the MVP of this series. Just from character moments.
He also looks great.
Yes.
He looks great. Like it's clearly a puppet a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's gotta be, right? And I'm sure there's times where he's like, modified with CGI or extended or whatever with CGI, like when he's fighting.
Clean him up a little or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can tell he's like a physical thing, and it like makes such a big difference.
And while we're on droids looking good, Chops, A+.
A+. Chopper looks great. Also.
Like his wobbly head, everything was just like, okay, you nailed it.
Yep.
But
so good.
Back to the thing when there's a little exposition between Sabine and Ahsoka, and then when they're running away to go fix the problem, Hu Yang, of course, in the in the exact moment where you're like, oh shit, that's gonna happen, then is like, hey, stick together, you're better that way. And they both are smiling at each other and like, yeah, we are. And at that moment, they're not going to stay together.
Yeah. But that little bit of exposition was very important. Ahsoka basically telling Sabine, it's more important to destroy this map than for us to go rescue Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as that is horrible to think of, that's what we have to do. And Ahsoka is prepared to do that.
Right.
Sabine is not.
Well, Ahsoka is a general who grew up in the Jedi Order, who is all, we have to do what's good for the galaxy, versus Sabine, who's just trying to save her family. And yes, they fought in the rebellion and like want to save the galaxy, but her brother's out there somewhere.
Right. Yeah. And Ahsoka knows. Well, I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, Balin referred to. He kind of like read her mind a little bit at the end and tells us that she considers Ezra the last family, last bit of family that she's ever had.
And that was actually revealing, because we did not know that the rest of Clan Ren died in the Purge.
Yes. When was the Purge?
It had to have been some. I mean, it was
during the rebellion.
It had to have been post what we saw in Rebels and pre Mando season 3. So sometime while the Empire was in
Not
power.
even pre-season 3, sometime between, because they talk about Mandor being
that's true,
gone
yeah.
in season 1.
Right.
So
Night of the Thousand Tears, I wonder when that was.
it must have happened during the rebellion, or right before, like during Rogue One.
That would be 1 BBY? So it is still up in the air. Even on Wikipedia, it's between 1 BBY and 9 ABY.
Okay, so but that's when we're talking. That would be during the original
we absolutely
trilogy.
nailed it.
Yeah, it would be after A New Hope and before.
Yep, before Rebels
before
season
Mando
1, or
season
Mando
1.
season 1. Yep.
Mando season 1. Yeah. Okay. Because I thought that too. So I was like, we've seen a whole lot of Mandalore in the animated series, and
it was definitely
every time
a planet.
I feel like every time we see Mandalore, it looks different. Like
Yes.
it's either a bustling city or it's like a kind of like a desert wasteland the way we see it in Rebels, or parts of it are anyway. And then we see it completely covered in weird green glass, kind of in Mandalorian. So,
but the
anyway.
Mythosaur survived.
Yes. Well, it's very far underground.
Yeah,
so
fair.
But anyway, thank you for bringing that up and clearing that up, because that was a big question that I had.
There you go.
So we learned Sabine's
That's what Wikipedia is for, my
dead.
friend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So yeah, Sabine's not ready to let Ezra go for the greater good. Whereas Ahsoka, she didn't necessarily witness this firsthand, but by now, through her reconnecting with whoever, Luke, other members of other people from her past, probably knows that her mentor, Anakin Skywalker, turned to the dark side for trying so hard just to save one person. It ruined his life and caused the destruction of
everything,
tons of planets and just thousands and millions of people. And so she knows what happens when you go after something for selfish reasons and you ignore the greater good. So she does not want to see that happen to Sabine or anyone else that she cares about. So she's thinking, yeah, we should destroy this thing. If we can't stop them, we need to stop everybody from going to that galaxy, from getting there. So, yeah, and that quickly leads into the fight that we already talked about, kind of in the forest. Ahsoka versus Merrick and Shin versus Sabine rematch. I love this fight scene. Both of them.
Yes.
Both like sections of it. The Shin and Sabine rematch was excellent, and she gets her helmet knocked off. That was the first time we've seen her in her full with the helmet on, right? It was awesome.
Oh, and look at
So
how
great.
comfortable she felt in that. Like, she's fighting completely differently than any time we'd seen her training with a lightsaber or any of that.
Yeah.
Even against Ahsoka, like when she's training, she's still, you could tell she's not comfortable. And then she slaps the Beskar on and it's like, okay, game on.
Yep, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Probably should have brought her jetpack though.
Well,
I gotta say, at the end of the episode, I was like, why doesn't she just fly away? She has a jetpack, right? She has a jetpack, right? And they showed her from behind. I was like, oh, she is not wearing it.
Wear it.
She should definitely have been wearing her jetpack, and then she could have just been like, see ya.
Yeah. Now it is convenient to have her be of a race and culture that for hundreds of years has literally built their armor around fighting against the Jedi.
Yeah,
so
very true.
That came in handy.
I thought about that, while it was happening.
Oh, when she was like blocking stuff with her arm plates, I was like, "Yep, your
so
gauntlets are like blocking lightsabers.
Yeah.
Cool."
And that great move that ended the fight, where she threw her hand up, and you thought, "Oh, is she going to use the Force?"
Right.
But she's not.
And,
Nothing's
and
happening.
Shin thought that too. It was like, "Oh,
you don't have any powers." Like, "Ooh, tricked you, pew." That was so cool.
Which we'd seen those used how many times over the course of animation, be it from any of the Mandalorians, and it's like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you use those?
Yeah, little darts in their wrists, and even Din has those like whistling birds or whatever he calls them that are, So that's that side of the fight. The other side of the fight, pretty awesome duel between Merrick and Ahsoka, which ends quickly. Quicker than I expected, in a very Obi-Wan versus Maul rematch, or final match, I should say.
Yeah.
Again, spoilers. Style. I felt it was very reminiscent of that to me, where there was a lot of build up. We were watching that lightsaber spin and spin and spin and spin and spin, and I was kind of like, I don't know that we haven't seen them fight with a spinning lightsaber in live action, because the only other live action series that we seen Inquisitors in is Obi-Wan,
Right.
correct?
Reva, yep.
I don't remember Reva ever fighting with the spinny saber. I think she had a double-sided, or the Grand Inquisitor did, but I don't remember them like diving into battle with it like Merrick did for a moment. And that was like really intense and cool, but didn't last very long. And what was Mr. I know all the lightsaber stances. What was this? Well, somebody just has
that one
back
threw
over
me,
her head.
Yeah.
Like
I was like, okay, that's something.
it's like seems like you're leaving yourself wide open there, girl.
Well, it was really like samurai-esque.
Yes,
yeah. It was yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it was badass. Don't get me wrong.
100%.
I was like, this is awesome, and it worked.
Right.
It worked because she, with one move, I think maybe two swings of that saber, she cuts Merrick open.
Yeah.
His chest open.
Well, in that, I mean, it's funny because for us, we immediately go to Rebels and Twin Sons and watching.
Yes. That's
Obi-Wan.
Exactly what I mean.
Right. And it's like, we get that because we saw Rebels. But for someone who hasn't seen any of that, they're watching that fight and they're like, oh, she just completely anticipated what he was doing, and now he's dead.
Yeah.
And then you get the twist of, and this, to me, what Merrick ended up being was even better than any of the stupid theories that were out there that were like...
Because there have been a lot of stupid theories. I don't know if you're listening to this and you're not on Twitter or whatever, you should know there's been a lot of stupid theories that this Merrick character is really Ezra.
Right. It's anywhere from really Ezra to like an
Darth
old Inquisitor
Maul is
to,
back, or is... Jeez.
Everything.
Sometimes it's just a new character, guys. Sometimes it's a new character. You can't see his face. Like, that's it. That's all it is, and that's all it was. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but now, explain to me what he was, because a bunch of smoke came out of him, and I didn't necessarily know what that meant.
So in my brain, what that equated to was like, do you remember in Jedi Fallen Order, like the reanimated Night Brothers that Marin was sending at him?
Yes.
That's what came to my mind, was like, okay, she reanimated some Force sensitive or something, and
put him in a suit.
Put him in a suit so he isn't just a wobbly skeleton mess.
Yeah. Okay, I do remember those. I hated them when I was playing that game. They sucked. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I either thought that it was some kind of Night Sister devilry.
Yeah, it was definitely...
I guess more... I wasn't... Not as specific as what you thought. Or I just thought it was like, well, maybe... Like, if he's really the last Inquisitor and has been around for that long, that suit's probably keeping him alive.
Right.
And also, maybe he has not taken it off, and that's just like oxygen escaping or whatever. Like pressurizing. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Either way, it was cool, and it was scary and unexpected.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that was dope.
But yeah, to have him just be him was just... It was great.
Yes. And that's all it should be.
Yeah.
That's all it should be. Not everybody is Mephisto, guys. Come on, stop with your dumb theories.
I still wish that was Mephisto.
Let the show tell you what it is. Yeah.
That of all the dumb fan theories, that's like the only one that I was like, oh shit, they should have actually done that.
Because I mean, I'll say this till the day I die, dude. Star Wars is all about expectations, and people's dumb fan theories are why half the fan base hates The Last Jedi so much, because it wasn't what they thought it was. It wasn't what they wanted it. And it's like, just let the movie tell you what it is.
So
it
what's
likely
the excuse
won't
for
be
Rise
what
of
you
Skywalker?
want. There's no excuse for Rise of Skywalker.
Fair enough.
I've actually this is a side thing about Rise of Skywalker, but
we never do that.
I'll be quick. Listening to Star Wars Minute, currently, and they're talking about Rise of Skywalker. I'm also seeing a lot of stuff on social media, posts about deleted scenes and alternate takes and whatever. And I've been through those two things that have been popping up for me a lot lately. I've started to not necessarily blame J.J. Abrams quite as much for that movie, and more blame the brass at Lucasfilm, because it really seems like that movie was made by a committee, and J.J. Abrams was just the guy they hired to take the brunt of the blame for a movie that was really just like pieced together. Like they're in Star Wars Minute is pointing out all these scenes, because when you watch a movie minute by minute, you really notice stuff in those that you don't notice. And they're saying like, there's a lot of ADR in this movie. Like a lot of the stuff that Luke is saying to Rey in this scene is with his back turned, and it's probably shot that way so they could have him say whatever they needed him to say after they finished figuring out what the movie was going to be about,
Right.
But we had to film Mark Hamill this day, or so like that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then all these deleted scenes I'm reading about, I'm just like, wow, it seems like there's a different movie in here somewhere. They shot a lot or wrote every possibility they could think of, and they just cobbled it together
It's like
with what they had at the end, and that's what we got.
Right.
But,
it's the world's shittiest Mad Lib.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like starting from the beginning.
Anyway. Yeah.
There's no how. Like who the wrote somehow Palpatine returned and thought that was great to put in the crawl. Like really? Come on, guys. So yeah, here we are.
I'm gonna make myself go back to Ahsoka
back to,
instead of
yep.
I could
Yeah,
we could talk about that for a long time. Again, we said this on our weekly episode, but go back to our May the 4th episode where we rank Star Wars films and listen to us rant about Rise of Skywalker and all the other ones that we don't like. Anyway, so Ahsoka gets to, I almost called it the map room, but it's not a room at all. The map cliffside.
Yeah.
And the I think I glanced over my Raiders of the Lost Ark poster where they have to get to the map room in that movie. That's why I said that.
The map precipice, if you will.
Map precipice. Yes, perfect. To confront Balin, who is great. Dude. I really love his character a lot. I love the way he's written. I love the way that Ray
Stevenson.
Not Ray Stevenson, yeah. R.I.P.
Yes.
to this guy. And I believe this is his last role. And I mean, he's no stranger to the world of nerddom. But God bless him, he went out on a really high note. And I think if this show sticks the landing, then he's going to be like a fan favorite character.
Oh yeah.
And just something that people talk about and go back to for such a long time. And like, because he is a villain, he's written as he's a villain, but is unique that he's not, I don't think he we don't know that much about him, but like, he doesn't seem like he identifies himself as a Sith. I feel like he is just like kind of a fallen Jedi who, he's using the dark side, but he also has such a respect for like Ahsoka and the Jedi Order where he came from that he's seemingly training Shin in the same way, constructing lightsabers. She's got a Padawan braid, all that kind of stuff that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
He's just, I guess we don't know what his true motivations are, other than he just thinks it's, for the greater good. He has said a few times.
Well, he's kept it very vague.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm curious that like that. I mean, that's definitely intentional, but where that's going to lead.
Like there is a depth. There seems to be a depth to him that we don't often get with a lot of Star Wars villains.
No, especially like the OT was all mustache twirlers.
Yeah, and I love a good mustache twirler.
Yeah.
I'll tell you straight up. I love a good I'm evil because I'm evil, and that's kind of what Star Wars is based on. Like clearly evil people versus clearly good people. Like that's it. No grays. And he just has this like real interesting way about him, and the way he conducts his villainry or lies himself or just approaches even the fight. Like you were, like we already talked about with the stances and stuff, like showing a real respect for the tradition of lightsaber fighting in
Right.
his reality. I feel like, and I don't know, he's just great. He's really crushing it.
Yeah. And along with David Tennant, another highlight of the show.
Yeah, I said that to my wife. I was like, man, David Tennant just makes everything better. He's just good in everything.
Yeah.
He's just good in everything.
Yeah, and Stevenson, I can say, possibly I don't know how to phrase it. He's the best dressed villain, hands down.
Yes.
That whatever he's rocking under those robes, like that tunic and whatever, that's just badass looking.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I noticed I've noticed it before, but both Balin and Shin are like kind of wearing like medieval armor almost.
Yeah. But like
and
leathered
like
and yeah.
Yeah, and like Shin's is like white or like dirty, like it used to be white, and it's like dirtied up, or it's like gray and
it's
like
almost like something out of The Witcher.
Yeah, it looks more medieval than it
Yeah.
looks sci-fi space opera fantasy. But I really like it.
Yeah.
And again, that's something that again sets them apart from just like Sith or whatever. They're not wearing just black Jedi robes.
Right.
They're wearing something that identifies them as something else. There's so many
And almost
things
like
that I
combat oriented too. Like you said, it looks armorish.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke, even when he's in his full black, it's just like
Just
I
robes,
went to the office and like
Yeah. Right.
I have a mock turtleneck on. Enjoy.
Exactly.
I am Steve
Yeah.
Jobs with a lightsaber.
Right. Right. Yeah, I like both of them quite a bit, and I hope that we get more information on them. I feel like I'm sure we will. I hope we do.
Oh, I'm waiting for the follow-up comic.
Oh, sure.
Because I'm sure there'll be some background somewhere, and
yeah,
in all honesty,
if not,
yeah,
if not the I mean, unfortunately, Ray Stevenson has passed away, so they would have to recast, or maybe he dies in this series.
Right.
Who knows? But I guess if I had to guess the outcome of their fate, I would guess that Balin dies and Shin goes on, either leaves on her own, or we're given a hint of her seeing the light side of things. That would be my guess.
Yeah,
that'd be my guess.
Well, even during this, there was some hesitation from her and like some surprise at things that were happening, and she was a zealot, but wasn't like, I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
The portrayal of it was great.
I can see. I don't think both of them are going to make out of this series alive. I could see either of them being the one that dies and the other one is left to either change their ways because of what they saw, or go further down the dark side, be driven further down because of what they see. That's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, see, you didn't read the original Thrawn stuff.
Nope.
Like, I see some comparisons to like Jorah Sabayoth, who was the Jedi. He was a Dark Jedi clone in the original stuff.
Okay.
And that, like, mentally, he was very much in his. I guess he had his own agenda, no matter what was going on with the Thrawn stuff and with everything else. He was following his agenda, and I get that vibe a little. Where it's like what he wants, what Morgan wants are two very distinctly different things.
Yeah.
So
he said, it's like in like one of the first two episodes, he says to Shin, like, what do we get out of this? Or Shin asks him, what do we get out of this? And he says, power, or something like that. More power than you imagine. So I think that they have allied themselves with Morgan. They don't give a shit. I don't think they give a shit about Thrawn coming back. I think they see this as a way to gain more power for themselves for whatever their own purposes end up being. Yeah. So.
And I mean, the Jedi and the Night Sisters have never really allied themselves per se.
Yeah, true. Although the Sith have allied themselves with the Night Sisters. Foolishly. Count Dooku.
Yeah.
He got 2 apprentices from them and the first one betrayed him, and then he went to get a second one. without blinking an eye, without
Yeah,
even
let's try
thinking
this
that
one
it could
again.
be a second betrayal. Yeah.
It's fine.
Anyway, so that awesome lightsaber fight that we already talked about.
Yep.
Ahsoka picks up Shin and throws her against a wall with the
Yeah.
Force. Amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, is that the first, like, we've seen Force throws, but have we ever seen a Force assisted throw?
yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure. But she does it because she thinks that her showing up means that Sabine is dead.
Right.
Which I like. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that shades of little darkness creeping in.
Yeah, exactly. But then cool lightsaber move after cool lightsaber move, she gets thrown off the cliff. And I'm sure she's just dead at this point, right? She's not coming back.
Yeah, no. And
That's
she
what I
was,
said to my wife.
she's distracted by Sabine showing up.
Yes. But yeah, I turned to my wife and I was like, I bet she's actually dead. Like, what? Clearly, no one thinks she's really dead.
Right.
Yeah, so
The titular
Sabine,
character dies halfway through, of course. That's
Exactly,
that's how
what
these
a
shows
twist.
always work, right?
Yeah, next week the show's called Sabine.
Hey,
It'll
don't
be
mess
cool if the
with
show
don't
did
mess
that
with Disney
sometime,
on
though.
that. You know, the end credits to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's true. So then Sabine is faced with the choice that Ahsoka kind of briefed her on in the beginning of the episode, is destroying the map
Right.
or saving Ezra. And Balin reads her thoughts, is able to convince her that a lot, or like giving him the map is the only way that she's ever going to be able to see Ezra or rescue him or feel good about herself or
Yeah.
anything ever again. And so I bought that. Like, I knew she was going to give it to him. I would have been surprised if she hadn't given it to him. But I think a lesser show would have done it worse, I guess. Wouldn't have, like...
Well, I think a
you know,
lesser
because
director even on this episode
Yeah.
would have done it worse.
Oh, I agree. Because it's more powerful that Sabine decides to hand it over.
Right.
And I think a lesser show, they would have just taken it from her or something like that. But like,
Right.
she is now implicit in whatever happens next.
Right. There's a
And
difference
she-
between Balin Skull force grabbing it from her hand.
Yep, which he probably
versus-
could have done. Easily
Oh,
could
yeah.
have done.
But
Yeah.
there was two things about that scene that really hit me. And one was when they're talking and he just powers down his lightsaber.
Yes.
And he,
Yeah.
at that point, this is like the beginning of the conversation, and he already knows he's got her.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Like, there's
knew
no, he's like,
exactly-
we're fine. It's okay. I'll just talk my
Yep.
way through this. And he does expertly.
Yes.
But then the other would be Natasha Lubortizo's like face acting during that.
yeah.
Like, you can feel Sabine like wrestling with this decision.
For sure. And then after she gives it to him, I thought she was about to throw up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was happening. And then it's revealed she's being force choked from behind. Shin is awake and force choking her. I was like, but really, I was like, do characters in Star Wars throw up? Are we going to see somebody throw up? And like, why is she throwing up? Is she just
that a
sick that she
thing?
gave him the thing? Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's being choked. Okay. It's like, what's
Well,
happening?
we know Star Wars characters get choked. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do Star Wars characters throw up? Has there been canonically someone getting sick
I don't know.
in that way?
I don't remember any.
I mean, Finn seems like he's about to, in the beginning of Force Awakens, when he gets to the outpost and is drinking the gross water.
Yeah.
He kind of like chokes for a second, but then he goes back into it. So if that's any indication, then maybe so.
There is a gag reflex in Star Wars.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so before we jump to this ending, we've got to jump back a little bit and set up the fact that Balin Skull knew Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
that exchange.
And I think that was important that was in there for people that are watching this show that have not watched either Clone Wars or Rebels and don't know that Ahsoka Tano was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. And they don't specifically say that in this episode even. But they at least acknowledge that they knew each other and worked together. And well, I guess he does say that he was her master. So they do say that. So people at home finally know that if they haven't figured it out by now. Skywalker's Padawan. So are you just listening to a clip of me talking?
I hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to pull up the chat, but it pulled up the actual video.
I was like,
instead.
that was just me. I
Yes,
just said
that was you.
a second ago.
So yeah, what was it? Balin said Anakin spoke highly of you.
Spoke highly of you, yes.
And Ahsoka's comeback. Funny, he never talked about you.
You, yeah. Right.
It's like, okay, you get so much out of those two lines of like, did everyone at the temple? I mean, everyone at the temple had to have known Anakin.
Well, that's what Balin says right back to her. He says everybody in the Skywalker.
Yeah.
Man, this is cool. This dialogue is so great.
Yep.
So great. And I really thought, because he says something like, shit, I can't remember what he said. He ends his comment with, "Is that why you abandoned him? Is that why you walked away from him? Is that why you abandoned him?" And she's taking her coat off or whatever, her poncho off. I really thought she was going to say, "The Jedi abandoned me first," which is what happened.
Right.
Kind of. You could interpretively.
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. A certain point of view? But she didn't. She said, "I'm not here to talk about my past," which is more like, I'm not going to indulge this asshole.
Right.
Fuck this guy. So Sabine goes with, all this time Hera and Jason and Chopper are on their way.
Oh yeah, we forgot that whole thing.
I forgot that was even happening because they set that up early.
Yeah.
We get to see the Ghost.
Yes.
Live action show, the Ghost. Not just a cameo in the background of some movie, full on. This is the Ghost with a formation of X-Wings following it.
Yeah, five members of Phoenix Squadron.
Yeah.
Which, well, Spectre Squadron, I believe, right? No, Spectre Squadron was.
Well, what's his face? What's that guy's
Sabine's
name? The recurring,
the
Agent Coulson of the Mando series.
Yeah, Paul Sun Hyun Kim. I can't remember his character's name.
Carson.
Yep. Carson Teva.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who is Zeb's squadron leader? So when they were flashing through, I thought, I 100% thought that we were going to see, the red, when we went through the, effectively Red 5 standing by, Red 2 standing by. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, they're going to flash Zeb as one of the X-Wing pilots. And they never did.
Pilot,
and I was
though.
like, oh.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's not really a pilot, though. I mean, he can fly a ship, but
he was wearing an X-Wing pilot jumpsuit in Mandalorian season 3.
Oh, he was?
Yeah. He was at the he was at the pilot's bar and wearing an X-Wing jumpsuit.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
He was wearing that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of implied that he was like either in the squadron with him or like stationed at the same place or whatever.
You just never see, like, I think he maybe flies the Phantom a couple times, but like I feel like they never focus on him being a pilot really in Rebels, so I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, Carson is like, the glue of all these shows, or the one character that's been in all of them,
and he's just great.
Cool. He's great. I love him a lot. So they're coming despite being told not to by Mon Mothma. They're going anyway.
Yep.
And they get there right as the hyperspace ring has gotten the coordinates, and Balin and Shin and Sabine are on board. Sabine is in handcuffs, and they just take off in the ring. No ship in the middle of it. The ring itself is big enough to go. Goes right through that squadron, takes out some of them, most of them. I think there's like the Ghost and like 2 X-Wings left. Took out like 3 other ships, and they're gone. And we don't see where they go, but they're gone. And but Hera's still there. Jason says, "I have a bad feeling," but he didn't say.
I was expecting the whole.
Yeah. Like, why have him almost say the catchphrase, but not the whole thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. Because it made me think like, oh, is he like becoming? Is he like? I mean, spoiler. His dad was a Jedi. So is he like feeling the Force? Is that what he's
Right.
like? Is he like starting to
Right.
feel the Force?
Is this a disturbance in the Force or something?
Yeah. But still, you can't just have him say about this at the end of that too. I don't know. Not that it doesn't matter. Um, I love that she just brings her son, no questions asked. like, no, you stay here at the base where it's safe. None of that. Just
No,
nope.
just
Come on with
buckle
me.
up, buddy.
Going to parts unknown where there might be evil Jedi, and a night witch. But come on.
Also, for the
Um,
record, I did not realize. I just looked it up. I did not realize technically that has been in all 11 live action Star Wars.
What has?
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh yeah. You
I-
didn't realize that?
No, I didn't realize. Apparently, BB-8 in the Last Jedi.
Yes. I kind of wish that an actual person said that.
That's-
a little.
I was like, I remember it in most of them, and I don't think they said it in the Last Jedi. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay. Apparently, BB-8 translated to that.
And
So-
the spin-off stories, they play with it a little bit. 'cause
Yeah, Solo was a
in
good feeling.
Solo says, I have a good feeling about this,
Yeah.
which is great. And in Rogue One, I think K2SO starts saying it and then is told to stop saying it.
Yeah.
He's like, shh.
Yeah, he
like,
was
I
interrupted
have
by
a bad
Cassian.
feeling about shh. Yeah. Great. And I think now it's a running gag.
Yep.
But I think originally it was probably just George Lucas not being
Right.
the
Not,
great screenwriter. of
not
all
realizing
time.
that he wrote that in all 3 movies.
Exactly,
Yeah.
not the greatest writer of dialogue. So anyway, Ahsoka fell off the cliff, so she's clearly dead. And
Oh, absolutely.
the camera is high in the air, panning over the cliff. Clearly, any moment we're about to see her dead body at the bottom of the
Right.
cliff.
In my brain, you have 2 things. You're either going to see her dead body, which we knew wasn't going to happen,
wasn't
or
gonna-
like,
Of course not. of
okay,
course
she washes up on a rock, and then Hera
Yep.
finds her or something.
not.
And
Yes.
that's where I was like, okay, yeah, we'll get there, and they'll get reunited, and then we'll go wherever. And,
Yes. But the waves slowly and beautifully,
oh, that was
Faded.
that was a cut.
it was so cool. And at first, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what are we? It's changing. We're like, stars, space, right? It's gonna be space, and we're gonna see where Morgan Elsbeth and the crew have ended up. Nope. And I was like, oh, she's laying on something. Oh, this is like a doctor's table. She's in like a
Right.
Bacta
Med bay or
thing,
whatever,
maybe, because
yep.
it still kind of looks like waves. And I was like, she's on some kind of operating table. She's on the Ghost or whatever, and they're like making sure she's okay. Oh no, my friend, she is in the world between worlds, which is a hard line Rebels reference.
Yes.
There's a lot of weird Force shit in Rebels, a lot
Yeah.
of it, and I love almost all of it. I like all of it. I love almost all of it. The
Yep.
thing that's right on the edge for me is the world between worlds.
Yeah.
It's like so close to being too far for me. But the way that it's executed in that show makes me love it.
Yeah.
And like the way and why it's there, the reason for it, how they utilize it makes me okay with it. Because again, a lesser series would have done crazier shit with that thing and made it terrible. But she's there. And it must be through some kind of like will of the Force, or she's having some kind of vision, right? Or because like, how else would she get there? Unless, like, as my wife pointed out to me, she's been there before. Maybe she just has a connection with it now that she's been there.
Right.
But is she physically there, or is she just there
Thinking
via
of right.
mental Force vision or whatever?
Or is she dead?
Or is she dead? Is she dead? That's a good point too.
We see in the Rebels finale a very, very different Ahsoka. We see Ahsoka the White.
Yes.
in
Yeah,
a-
that's what I've talked about. Remember
Yeah.
how it's different? They did it differently.
Yep.
And I think they just did it to, I don't know, to put Ahsoka in a different place
Right.
for this show, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them making that change.
Right.
Fine.
Now, that said, back to where we were. Out of nowhere, what do you hear? You hear
Hey,
one
Snips.
word, yeah, or 2 words, yeah,
I thought it was hey Snips. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just
And
like,
then you hear, I didn't think I would see you so soon.
yeah, or I didn't think you'd be here so soon, or yeah, something in that.
Yeah.
But like for one, you hear snips, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
haven't heard her called that in a bit.
Yeah. Yep. And she turns around, and who does she see, Steve?
Her former master, Anakin Skywalker.
Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, it was great.
Seemingly de-aging him.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yep.
I kind of wish they didn't. Like, who cares? Like, he's
Well,
older.
it's
the
funny.
Force. He's a ghost. Who cares? Who
So
cares? Let him be older.
That de-aging, why didn't they use that de-aging in Obi-Wan and then not de-age him for this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like just let him. He would look more natural. He would, not that he even really moved in this, but like, just
Yeah.
let the actor act and don't mess with their face. Like, that's what they're using to convey their emotion. Like,
Right.
just let that happen. That was my one thing, is I wish they didn't de-age him. But holy shit, he's wearing his Revenge of the Sith Jedi robes.
Yep.
And for all intents and purposes, he looks exactly like he did in episode 3. And that's the end of the episode. What is she? She says master, or she says Anakin?
Yeah. I can't remember which.
She says master. I think she says master.
But that look on Rosario Dawson's face was like,
Yeah, blown away.
yeah.
Yes. So I hope and pray that episode 5 starts with the conversation they're about to have. And Steve, what the hell conversation are they about to have?
I have no idea. But one thing we found out today is that if you
Yeah.
really want to know, you can
Yeah.
find out in theaters.
Episode 5 of the Ahsoka show. Why aren't we calling this Ashoka, by the way? We're calling this Ashoka, right?
Well,
Ahsoka show?
Ashoka's isn't Ashoka, like they spelled Ahsoka the way they did because Ashoka is like a Hindu god or something.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just meant like a portmanteau of show and Ahsoka. Put those 2 words together. That's all I meant. Yeah, you can go see that. Episode 5 is going to be in theaters.
Yeah.
Is that next week, just on Tuesday?
Yeah, seems to be.
Wow.
Select theaters. So on gophobo.com. I didn't know that was a website, but
Everyone's favorite website.
right.
Are you going to go?
Let's see if there's anything in the Syracuse area. We're finding screenings right now, my friend. There are no screenings in our area.
Okay. All right, boo. Well, if you're not in Syracuse area and you want to go see episode 5 of Ahsoka in the theater, you can. Again,
Yeah,
probably
Boston,
LA.
Chicago, Dallas, LA, New York.
Dumb. There's a lot of things they could talk about. And I hope one of the things they talk about is how the hell Anakin gets to be a Force ghost after killing millions of people, destroying planets, and just the only thing he needed to do to get back to the light side was stop his boss from killing his son. Like a personal he does one thing because of a personal attachment, and that's what gets him to be a light side Force ghost. Okay.
Yeah. Seems to totally track.
Actually, I hope they don't talk about that, because it's better just not really thinking about it. Just letting it go. But like, I realized like this is likely happening after it's definitely happening after season 2 of Mandalorian, and it's probably happening after Book of Boba Fett. So that means that Ahsoka already knows Anakin's son and has already spent time with him as he's building his new Jedi temple. So if they talk about Luke, I'll probably just cry. My eyes out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wrap my head around what they.
Yeah.
Like, what's that discussion going to be?
I don't know. I mean, all Force ghosts seemingly appear when people need advice or a push in the right direction. So like clearly it's going to boil down to something like that. Like this is the wisdom that you are missing right now and you're welcome. Here you go. So it'll probably be that. It's not going to be, I want the entire episode to just be a bottle episode where the two of them are just like sitting crisscross applesauce in the world between worlds having a talk about whatever comes to their mind. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Yep. Well, I mean, Filoni
we'll
directed episode 5, so you never know what you're gonna get.
Wow, you're right. Man.
So we have to wind out the second half. We have Dave Filoni directing 5, Jennifer Getzinger directing 6. She was a script supervisor on Requiem for a Dream, Devil Wears Prada,
Okay.
Phantoms, Strangers with Candy, Sopranos, Mad Men, etc.
Oh, cool. That's some good shows.
TV directing was, Orange is the New Black, Agent Carter, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Westworld.
All right. Okay.
So she's got some
Got some
sauce
bangers
behind
in
her.
there. Yeah, for sure.
Geeta Patel, who I believe has done some other Star Wars stuff too. I know she did some House of the Dragon work.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So yeah, working on A-list type stuff, and then Rick Famuyiwa, who is no stranger to Star Wars in any way, shape, or
Yeah, he's
form.
done Mandalorian episodes. So
Yep.
Peter Ramsey's not coming back. I thought he was doing a second one. Okay.
No, maybe they
wow.
already signed him up for season 2.
Maybe.
Because I'm sure there's a season 2.
I mean,
If they have not introduced Thrawn at this point, there's a season 2 somewhere.
Well, we saw him in the trailer.
Yeah.
So unless that shot in the trailer is the final shot of the series.
Yeah, but you don't take someone like Thrawn and like do him dirty in a 3-episode arc in a TV show.
But also, Steve, you got to remember they're setting up a movie now.
True.
So who better to be the big bad in the movie? All these shows coming together than Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Now, like, do you take that if you're going to make Thrawn the big bad of your movie? Do you turn that into a trilogy? Do you stretch Thrawn as far as you can? Like, there's already precedent for him in both canon and Legends for having large story arc stuff built around him, and he's already a very well fleshed out character. Do you take him as the big bad that like gets same kind of stretch, gets beat back in the first movie, comes back strong in the second movie, gets ultimately defeated? Or
they haven't announced trilogies. They've only announced 3 very different movies, and I feel like any of those 3 movies could spawn trilogies
if people like them
done well and written well.
Yeah.
So I think that remains to be seen, but I would not be surprised if Thrawn is not necessarily defeated at the end of this series and ends up being set up to be the bad guy in the Filoni verse film.
Thrawn Who Remains.
Yeah, because then maybe we get Thrawn teaming up with like a clone of Moff Gideon. Like that'd be cool. Because we saw that guy's got clones. He might have gotten blown up in season 3, but
so the other little thing that we I haven't heard really talked about. Thrawn knew Anakin.
How did Thrawn know Anakin?
Thrawn knew Anakin in the Old Republic as well as as Darth Vader.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
So
you're talking in canon, new canon.
Yeah, in
New
Thrawn
canon.
Allegiances, or the second book in the first Thrawn trilogy. It's basically the whole thing's written from.
But isn't the first Thrawn trilogy Legends though?
The first canon Thrawn trilogy. There are 3 Thrawn trilogies now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of backstory on this.
A lot of information on this guy. Yeah.
So in the books, there's a whole stretch where every other chapter is Thrawn interacting with Anakin and then Thrawn interacting with Vader.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like it's written kind of interspersed between the two storylines, and it's a really, and then at the end, throwing pieces together that Anakin is Vader, and
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. He's a genius tactician and
right,
strategizer, so he could easily put together that Vader is Anakin.
yep,
And of course he would. Of course he knows Darth Vader because they're both high-ranking Imperial officers.
right.
So yeah, it makes perfect sense that they would know each other. So,
So I wonder now with Anakin coming back to this, even
is he
in
going to
this
have any insight?
situation as to like, all right, maybe because maybe Anakin is the reason why Ahsoka realizes Thrawn is such a threat.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Maybe.
I don't know. There's some through lines to be figured out here.
Yeah, for sure. There's plenty of opportunities. And I'm sure Dave Filoni knows what he wants to do.
Yeah, and hopefully they can land the ship. I mean, he's in all of the TV series he's done. They've landed the ship quite admirably.
Yes, very true. So, we shall see.
Yeah, we shall.
We shall see. I'm very excited. This show is crushing it so far. I mean, we're only 4 in, but we're halfway. There's 8 episodes, right?
Yep.
So we're halfway done. All right. Has shown no signs of faltering yet.
Right. Yeah,
So-
the first episode was the only, like, there was definitely some building and exposition that you were like, in our case, if you knew Rebels, you were like, okay, we know some of this. Come on, like, speed it up.
Right.
But they paced
We still
it,
liked it.
right, and it's well paced compared to a lot of things, and it's I can't complain about anything.
I agree.
So
I am getting very tired, so I think we need to wrap this up so I don't pass out
I
while we're
think
talking about
that's
Ahsoka.
probably a wise idea.
I agree.
Now,
Um,
if you're listening to this and you're tired, before you crash, you should probably go and leave us a review
absolutely.
because 5-star reviews are really appreciated, and
Yeah.
leave us something. We'll decide to toss it on the air to you.
Yeah.
If you're interested in what we're having to say, feel free to tune in every Wednesday night at 9:30 for the Ahsoka recaps. If you want to hear us talk about other things that are in the general nerdverse, Sunday nights at 9:30. If you haven't realized, it's a recurring theme of the 9:30 thing.
Yeah.
Beyond
We got
that,
kids. We can't do it till after bedtime.
Right.
We got other stuff to do.
Yep. So we got that, and then check us out on social media at the Multiverse Report on just about any other socials.
Yeah, please do.
multiversereport.com, multiverseport@gmail.com if you feel like writing a diatribe to us about something.
Why we're
If you need
missing something or
right, if you-
wrong about the show.
wrong about everything. Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. Yeah, and also please subscribe to us on all the things. Like if you're on all the things. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, just hit the subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube, like the video, subscribe. That would be great. Thank you very much. It goes a long way for podcasters like us, small time. So that's it. Great show so far, and we'll see you Sunday. Are we doing Sunday, or we have to
I
move
think
to Monday?
this week we're Sunday. This week we're Sunday.
You know what? We may not be this Sunday.
Okay.
We might be Monday. I think we're gonna be Monday.
All right.
So anyway, we'll confirm that with you again on our socials. Follow along. But until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.